Chapter 22. Boot. Cody moved aggressively forward. He was on edge, hyper, dangerous. He stood directly in front of Eric, too close for comfort. The others drifted nearer, forming a loose semicircle that faced Eric. Drew P. was there, with Will and Sinjay too, his so-called friends, here for the show. Hallenbeck crossed an imaginary line and now aligned himself with Griffin, who greeted him with a subtle nod. Eric understood that something significant had happened. David Hallenbeck, of all people, had lured him off school grounds. It had been a trap, and it was here, Eric realized, where it was going to happen. He looked at Hallenbeck. Is this what you want to show me, David? No, I've got something I want to show you. Cody leaned in close. He put a hand on Eric's chest. I heard what you said about me, Hayes. There was fury in his voice. Eric didn't understand. What I said? What you called me? Cody tapped his knuckles on Eric's chest. Not hard, but not soft either. Cody didn't want to say it out loud. Not in front of everybody. For the sliver of an instant, Eric wondered how Cody found out. He said it out loud only once, and that was over a month ago at the supermarket with Griffin. Griffin. He was the one. Had to be. Griffin was the puppet master, pulling the strings without even lifting a finger. Griffin had arranged it all. Cody was just a tool, a weapon that Griffin used whenever he wanted. Eric smirked. At that moment, he hated Cody's face, hated his horse teeth, his ragged hair, everything about him. What's the matter? Eric said. You don't want everyone to hear your new nickname? Eric paused, stared hard at Griffin, and whispered it. Weasel. Cody's eyes blazed, and he hit Eric on the side of his face with a ferocious right hook. Eric staggered back, but did not fall. I don't want to fight you, Cody, he said. I don't think you have a choice, Griffin noted from the sidelines. Eric turned to walk away. Isn't that what you were supposed to do? The easy advice they give you? Just walk away? When Cody reached for him, grabbed him hard, a switch went off in Eric's head. He turned and swung wildly. Cody ducked the blow and danced out of the way. Fight! Someone cried. Do it! Do it! The others moved in closer, like sharks circling a swimmer. Blood was in the water. Whoever taught Cody how to fight deserved a lot of credit. Those karate classes really paid off. After a rapid flurry of punches, he grabbed Eric in a headlock and twisted, until Eric was on his knees, fearing that his neck might snap. He clawed at Cody's fingers, desperately trying to pry them apart. It was getting hard to breathe. That's when punches rained down upon Eric's face. All left hands, hard and true. At a certain point, it became a blur. The whole fight, if you could call it that, probably lasted less than 3 minutes. Eric was on the ground, gasping heavily on his hands and knees, spitting blood. Okay, Cody, you're done, Griffin said. Consider that a lesson, Cody said. The others murmured, disturbed and excited. It was a chilling display of pure animal violence, and it thrilled them. Eric had only wanted it to end, and now he regretted more than anything his one punch that hadn't landed. If only he could have had the pleasure of cracking Cody in the face, just once, to feel his fist crunch against Cody's cheekbone. Griffin bent over and plucked something from the ground. It was a little American flag from Checkers' grave. Eric understood the gesture. Griffin needed his souvenir. The party was over, but no one told David Hallenbeck. 2 feet stepped close to Eric's head. You think you're so much better than me, don't you? Hallenbeck spat. There was anger in his voice, so much pain bubbling up to the surface. I don't, Eric gasped. Now you know what it's like, Hallenbeck screamed. Now you know. Hallenbeck had worn hiking boots that day, Eric noted, not the sneakers he usually wore. Special occasion, Eric guessed. And now Eric watched the boot lift, swing forward, and drive into his stomach. Eric absorbed the blow, crumpled like a paper cup. He felt the cool earth on his face. It was nice, like a damp towel. Eric tasted grass and dirt and a warm trickle of blood from his lips. Hallenbeck kicked a few more furious times. He wasn't practiced at it, though, and the kicks were only glancing blows. Eric covered up, hands wrapped tightly around his head, body in a ball. He refused to cry out. No sobbing, no pleas for mercy. He took it in silence. But that last kick knocked something out of him. His body grunted, heaved, constricted in pain. That's enough, Cody barked. Leave him alone, Hallenbach. He's down. Eric heard them walk away, and a sound came up from his throat and passed through his lips. Laughter, except it hurt his ribs. Still, it was funny, though, when he thought about it. David Hallenbach had found a way to belong. He was one of the gang. All it took was kicking Eric's ass. For a while, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, Eric just lay there, feeling oddly serene, wondering how badly he was hurt. He slowly stretched out his arms and legs. He ached all over. His neck was stiff. He felt his face. It seemed okay. Only a little blood came off on his fingers. And then he heard a bicycle pull up. What now? Eric wondered. Are you okay? Mary asked. She sounded frightened. Eric half rolled to look up at her. Mary was standing with the sun behind her back, framing her head. Eric squinted. Her face was in a shadow, dizzying. Oh, sure, I'm peachy, he said. Or maybe he just thought it. What? Mary leaned down close, put a hand on Eric's shoulder, listened. He shook his head. There really wasn't anything to say. It took too much effort anyway. I was hiding. I watched from the hill, she confessed. Her hands touched his face, wiped the hair from his eyes. I waited for them to leave. She pulled at his arms and helped him sit. It's not so bad. I've seen worse, but only in slasher movies. Eric snickered at her. And after a while, with her help, he stood. Let's get you home. And somehow, together, that's what they did.